guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face, radio, and a voice for print. Stupid guys have been forced out of their own club after letting women in. Now, are they completely forced out? No. But it's how these things work. First, you let them in, then they want some things changed to be a little more comfortable, and then the women say, we want things to be this way, and then the guys ultimately end up leaving and doing something else. And in a way, it actually happened. This story first came to me because Sargon of Akkad, or Akkad Daily, where he puts out his clips. This is from Carl Benjamin. And the video he did on it that caught my eye is he said a deeply selfish act, how women nag their way into men's spaces. And it got 300,000 views. And I said, yeah, you know something? They do that. Let me kind of watch this. And he read the story. So I'm not going to go super deep into the story. I will relate it because many of you probably haven't seen it. However, what it is basically is it's called the UK Men's Shed. Men's sheds are kitted out community spaces where men can enjoy practical hobbies. It's about making friends, learning and sharing skills. Many guys come for the tea and the banter. Everybody's welcome. Well, there's a problem. When you let women into a space, there goes the banter. Maybe the tea's a little bit better. I don't know. But there goes the banter. There goes the hanging out. There goes speaking on authentic issues because you have to watch your language. You have to do this, or you know there's going to be some corrections to this. There are a lot of these places. I mean, it is all over Britain, as you can see. So yes, guys are definitely wanting a place where they can be themselves and talk amongst themselves. Inclusion on this map is a free service offered to all men's and community sheds in the UK, Isle of Man, and Channel Islands. And they said if your shed needs updating, meaning if your location needs updating. And it's just, but now all of a sudden we scroll down just a little bit. And as we scroll down here, it looks like that looks an awful lot like a woman in this photo. Well, this is from the BBC. And the reason why I'm framing this a little bit different than Sargon is he said, selfish women force or nag their way into a men's club. How did they get let in though? Men could have just said, no, you have your knitting circles, you have your book clubs, you have your gyms that are women only, you have lots of places. We want something for ourselves. You cannot come in. I put less the fault on the women because women are going to nag and women are always going to want to be in men's spaces because God forbid we have something that they can't be a part of. It's more on the men for letting them in. Before we get into our main story, let's hear from today's sponsor from the Wellness Company. Let's talk about weight loss. We all know someone taking the Zempic or similar to shed pounds. Well, now it's up to a staggering 13 million Americans who take a drug for a disease they don't have. There are now class action lawsuits linked to its side effects to non-diabetics like gastrointestinal issues, pancreatitis, kidney problems, and even some cancers. Do you struggle with cravings, have a slow metabolism, and stubborn fat? You're not alone. The experts at the Wellness Company's medical board have developed a new, safer option to help curb appetite by working with your body's GLP-1 hormones without a prescription or painful shots. Introducing DROP, a breakthrough GLP-1 peptide that targets hormones to assist in improving metabolism and blood sugar balance, plus hunger reduction. Just add a few flavorless drops to your water each morning for serious weight loss on your terms. Summer's around the corner. If you've been looking for an alternative that doesn't involve shots, it's time to drop it like it's hot. Save $50 off plus free shipping. Head to twc.health/oddmanout and use code oddmanout. Again, $50 off plus free shipping. twc.health/oddmanout and use code oddmanout. And now back to our regularly scheduled program, Me. Started out as a gathering to reduce loneliness and combat social isolation among elderly men. And now there's more than 1,000 men's shed projects running across the country. But while many are aimed exclusively at men, one group in Loudenborough has taken the decision to admit women and members' wives. Now, how long is it until others start saying, hey, that sounds like a great idea? I also want to go with my husband or whatever to a men's shed or to the shed. I want to start doing this as well. We know it doesn't take long. All it takes is the balloon to be popped, and before you know it, you've got a bunch of women in here. And you can see in this photo, there's all the guys working down here and most of the women working up here together. Remember, Brenda Needham, I kept asking my husband all the while, why can't we join? The 74-year-old added, eventually they let us in one morning. Eventually it became all the time. And now it's 50% women. So a completely men's space is now totally filled with women. So while it may have started as a men's space, a couple women came, and before you know, it's 50-50. And you know this is going to happen to the other ones as well. But I don't blame the women for nagging the men to go in, because that's women's nature. That's what they do. God forbid we have something we enjoy that they're not participating in. Karen believes joining the group has helped improve her mental health and said she was never interested in what was seen as traditional female skills. Not everybody likes baking and sewing. I think the men maybe were a little concerned in the beginning because maybe they came here to get away from their wives and were worried we were going to take over. But we haven't done that. We'll work together. Well, you have done that. Guys wanted their own space, and now it's half women. And the men have made a shed inside of a shed. Recursive shedding, everybody. When the women were allowed into the workshop, members decided to keep a quiet room with a model railway display in it just for men. The men let women into a men's group just for men. The women start taking over because now they're half the people, and the men decided to make another room inside the men's area for men. So when they want something quiet. Well, the whole project of Sheds for Men is supposed to be someplace guys can work and have some solitude and quiet and speak to each other and not have females in their faces. And a couple of married guys decided, well, okay, if it'll make her happy, they brought him in. The other guy's probably getting nagged, probably getting some pressure, said, all right, I'll bring my wife. And before you know it, boom, 50-50. And now when the guys want to get away from the women again, they have to keep a special little room in the back for themselves. This is where the concept of man cave came from. If you've ever heard of a man cave, it's when a husband and wife, they have their house, and the guy says, I want an area for me because my house has 1,400 throw pillows and her little tchotchkes and decorations all over the house. I want a place where I can decorate the way I want and she doesn't have a say. I want a place where I can come and watch sports or maybe hang out and do my projects, maybe have some friends come over. And many times it's either a basement or a garage. And the guys will set up maybe a poker table, or they'll set up a small bar, or they have a little smoking lounge, something where their friends can come over and they can all hang out and have some private time. Not in the house that traditionally men have paid for, because that's taken over by the woman, but in the garage. These guys decided to make a garage, called it the Find a Shed, and then they have to make a shed inside the shed for their own sanity. Andrew McNerney, 70, admitted there was initially some resistance to becoming a mixed group. He said there was apprehension, but in all honesty, it turned out well. We, the men, escape now and again to the quiet room and have a chat and weigh things up. Yeah, that's what the whole project was supposed to be. Time and time again, when men have things they enjoy, women invade. But if a man tries to invade something that a woman is doing, well, he's all the bad things. It's always that way. And because men are too nice and too kind in many circumstances and just try to be placating, or they want a happy wife, happy life type of crap, they give up something they're passionate about. Because the truth is, the women could have started their own group. If they say, hey, I like woodworking, okay, start your own group. We don't know how to do it. Aha! That's where you get together and you learn. There's resources online and thousands, tens of thousands, millions of videos on wood carving and woodworking and how to do things. But you have to take it on your own incentive to go learn it. And then you can teach each other. And women say, I want you to tell me. Is it because they love their husband so much and they want him to direct and guide them through their path through this? Of course not. It's because they're lazy. They don't really care about woodworking. They just want to hang out with other women and have a place where they can have a club that guys formerly enjoyed. I don't know why, but this is always a constant thing, and it's tiring. It's quite tiring. But in the end, who is to blame? It's the men. It's the men's fault. And the elderly gentlemen that maybe are single or have lost their wives or maybe were never married that did want just a men's space, they've lost out. Now they're forced to hang out with other guys' wives and have females in the place, and the thing that was originally made for them is gone. You got to blame the men. I blame the married men that gave in to the pressure. No one else. And mark my words, you give this another 3, 4, 5 years, it'll be another space where it's now women, husbands, and wives, and it becomes a craft shop like any other, where men don't have a quiet place unless they go hide in the man cave of the Find a Shed program. Every time men cede ground, they lose. Such a shame.